Welcome to the Perfect Your Purpose podcast, where my main goal is to connect with inspiring individuals across the country, allow them to share their journeys that they have brought them to where they are today, and how they're living out their unique purpose. So I'm your host, Danica Tramburg, and today I am joined by Autumn, owner of Autumn's Closet, fellow pageant friend, and honestly, just so much more. So I'm excited to dive into everything today, Autumn.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So first, when you first popped on, I couldn't help but notice that beautiful wall behind you, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm in the pageant closet."
Yes.
And so, why don't you just talk about Autumn's Closet, your mission, and what you do, and like, how did that
Sure.
even start? I don't even know.
Okay. I know, which is crazy because you and I have known each other for several years and we've never just had a chance to sit down and talk about
Yeah,
how my business actually started. Forgive my voice, first of all. I'm still battling a cold that I think I picked up from my kiddo from daycare. But basically, Autumn's Closet, I started from pageantry. I know that sounds cheesy, but when I started competing, I started with a system called National American Miss, and my parents were always so supportive. They were like, "Yes, you can do any pageant you want, you can compete as much as you want, but you need to pay for it. You need to find a way to earn the money to pay for it." And so, at the age of 16, yes, I had a job, but making $6 or $7 as a lifeguard per hour just wasn't cutting it to pay
yeah,
for everything that was involved in pageantry. And so I had to get creative and I had to become an entrepreneur. And one of the things, besides the many other fundraisers that I did, but one of the things that I did was I had such a love for thrifting. My family always would shop at rummage sales, Goodwill, thrift stores, kind of out of necessity to save a little bit of money on the
yeah.
things that we could get secondhand and save a little bit of money. And I learned very quickly that if I picked up a dress, let's say I found a prom dress or a cocktail dress, and I added a few rhinestones to it, or I made some alterations to it, it suddenly became, like fresh fashion. It was something
Yeah.
that people didn't have because I found it at a thrift store. So the chances of somebody having that same piece were really rare. And, I had gone to a couple pageants and had people inquire about where I was getting my wardrobe and if they could buy it from me. And I was like, wow, this might be its own little business. And so I started buying and selling from thrift stores and putting it on eBay. And that was really realistically how I paid for many of my entry fees into these competitions, and also how I started putting myself through college because I had a nice little side hustle going on eBay. And so for a long time, Autumn's Closet was run out of the basement of my house or
Mhm.
my spare bedroom. And even
Yeah.
after I got married, my husband actually built me a closet
Oh my
downstairs to
gosh.
house all of the pageant stuff because I had girls then starting to come in person and try things on, by appointment in person. And so he built me this little office downstairs, bless you, with
Thank you.
with space to house a bunch of these items. And the girls would literally come shop at Autumn's Closet. That's what we called it. And so for many years, you get to know so many people in pageantry, and they were like, you really should open your own shop. You should do this full time. And I finally just decided, I was in a position that it was a great company, but just not what I saw myself doing for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And I had a very real conversation with my husband. I'm like, I've been doing this since I was 17 years old, 16 years old. Um, it clearly is working, like it's a profitable
Yeah.
business. I think we could maybe do this full time in Fond du Lac, but I would incorporate everyday clothing, not just
Mhm.
pageant attire. And he liked the idea because he saw, how often we were buying and selling and shipping things out. And so we started looking at spaces, and it just fell into our lap. The first space that we ever rented, the owner owned another business in town that I frequented, and she said, "Oh yeah, we have a space you can rent, and yeah, we'll include utilities, and if you guys do the renovations, we'll even let you rent it month to month." And I was like, this opportunity is just not going to present itself again because most places want you to sign a 3 or a 5 year lease.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, what do we have to lose? I mean, worst case scenario, if after 6 months it's just not doing anything, then I guess we'll just move on, and
Mhm.
at least we can say that we tried. And within 4 months, I quit my full-time job. So we opened August 1st of 2015. And by December 1st, I had quit my full-time job and
Oh,
gone
wow.
full-time at Autumn's Closet. So truly just like, I get emotional talking about it because it's a dream in the making and
Yeah.
something you see yourself doing in the future. And if you work hard enough, those things can come to fruition. So super
Yeah.
blessed.
And I can imagine too, just that feeling of the security in your full-time position that you had and taking
Yeah.
that leap of faith. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like that had to have been a little bit of a
That was
struggle.
really first opened. I didn't have employees. I was the only employee. So
I think you got muted.
and I would drive right from work to my shop, and I would work from 6 to 9 at night every weekday. And then I'd work on weekends because I had off from my other job on the weekends. And business was picking up and people kept asking like, well, when are you going to add full-time hours? When are you going to add daytime hours? I can't get out here at nights and weekends only. I'd love to come shop during the day. And we finally just had so many people asking that my husband's like, I know we're not quite comfortable like just leaving and jumping in, but let's just try. So I'd say that first 2 weeks I was terrified. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember leaving, this secure job where I had a salary and I had full benefits and I had retirement and I had, if I needed it, I had maternity leave and sick leave.
Yeah.
And leaving something like that to go be your own business owner was terrifying, but deep down I just felt like it was going to work out. I just had this gut feeling like, okay, this is going to work. It's going to be okay. So
Mm, that's
definitely
so
put a lot of
cool.
faith in God.
Oh yeah. I can't
God,
even
like, okay,
imagine.
this is your plan for me. This is where I'm meant to be. I'm trusting your plan. I'm listening. So let's give it a shot. And here we are almost 7 years later. We moved locations and expanded our Autumn's Closet shop. So we almost tripled in size. And then we
Wow.
added Little Munchkins, which is the infant toddler version of Autumn's Closet. And now, most recently, 1 year ago during COVID, we added the true pageant closet. So I'm back to my roots now, and I have a really big version of the pageant closet, which is where I started in the first place. So
And it is absolutely amazing. So if anyone's listening and needs a pageant, attire, whatever it is, interview, evening gown, you have honestly such beautiful gowns. So
oh, thank you. It was so much fun. Danica got to see it for the first time a
yes,
couple of weeks ago, a month
yeah,
ago, and she walked in. I'm like, yeah, it's a hidden little gem here in
it
Fond du Lac,
is.
Wisconsin.
It is. It so much is. And I think too, because of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you always have had a heart for giving back. But I
Oh,
think because of this that you've been able to do in the past 7 years, you've been able to impact so many more lives.
mhm. I think so for me to go back, I guess where my passion for giving back stems from is my mom always taught us like you have to share your blessings, you have to find ways to give back to the
Mm,
community. Even as a kid, I remember volunteering um, in soup kitchens and food pantries and just any events that our church was putting on, or we were always donating somewhere. And that love and that passion kind of continued later in life. And as a small business, I like to think that your community, when they see that you're doing things to help other people and that you're giving back and that you're actively involved in the community, they want to see those types of businesses succeed.
mhm.
And I know I do. When I see a business that
Yeah.
gives back, I want to make it a point that that is a business that I'm going to frequent and I'm going to spend my money there versus a chain or a franchise. Um, Even if it means being a little bit more expensive. So
Mhm.
for me, I've kind of taken that passion that I have for serving others and just giving back in any way that I can. And I've really incorporated it into my business because of multiple reasons, my passion for it, and because I think the community loves to see that. And so
Mhm.
here at Autumn's Closet and Little Munchkins, on any given day, you can expect that we have no less than 5 collection drives or donations going on. I mean,
Yeah.
we are constantly evolving and collecting and donating. So one of the things we do at Autumn's Closet, because we purchase our inventory from the public, anything that's left over that, let's say, we didn't purchase, a lot of times those people are truly just going to go donate it somewhere. They're going to donate it to Goodwill or St. Vincent de Paul, and they just want to see it go to somewhere that people can use it and utilize it. And so we give them the option of donating it to us, and we put it on what we call our dollar rack, and we sell it for $1, no matter what it is, no matter, even if they walked in and they donated a North Face jacket and they said, I want to donate this, it would go on the dollar rack for $1. And the community members, can buy things at a super affordable price. If they are having a hard time purchasing clothing for them or their kids, they can buy things at a really affordable price. But B, that money that we collect, we then pick different charities, fundraisers, programs, and like causes that we support, and we give that money back to the community. So I think last year it was a little over like $13,000 that we raised off of our dollar racks and gave back in various ways, whether it was raffle baskets or donations or scholarships. And so it's kind of become just one of the things we're known for is, go check out their dollar rack first and see what you can find up there. It's a lot of fun. And the other thing that we have access to is obviously clothing and accessories and shoes and things that people need. These are necessities that kids in the community or members of the community, winter coats is one of them. And so anytime throughout the year, right now we're doing, for example, a shoe drive. We have a partnership with Fond du Lac Social Services where we provide shoes and care packages for foster children and children in emergency placement situations. We have a trunk or treat coming up. So we're providing a safe environment for kids to come trick-or-treating, and we have about 27 volunteers coming out for that. So we use some of that dollar rack money to buy the candy for the trunk or treat. We've donated to women going through breast cancer. We've given over $1,000 check to a local woman battling breast cancer. You name it, we've done it, and we will continue to do it because there's always a need in the community, and if you know what you're looking for, you can find a way to help. And that's usually what I tell people is if you want to help, you can definitely find a way, even if you think it's so small. I mean, these projects that we do are so small, but they add up to make such a greater impact on our world. So
it's so true. I love
Yeah.
that. I love you guys' mission and just like the hard work and everything that you've put into it personally. It just goes to show that, hard work and dreams can come true when you have, the grit to get it done and the passion behind it.
I think so too. Even my staff, it's fun to see them, grow and evolve as women, and the ideas that they come up with that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, that they're like, hey, there's this fundraiser going on. Is there any way we can help? Like, what can we do? What can we collect? And so they get into it just as much as I do. And oftentimes they're also volunteering their time, like off the clock, that they'll come in and sort baby items for our community. We did a community baby shower last year, and we gave away it was awesome. We gave away over 5,000 items to 100 families.
Oh my gosh.
For free. They could come shop for free. But my staff, those are the people making it happen because they're coming here on their off hours, sorting through donations and helping us to find a way to distribute it back to the community. So I'm very lucky that not only do I get to work my dream job, but I get to help people in the process because it's my business and I can choose what we decide to focus on that month. So
cool. And
awesome.
Tell me about like your purpose. What do you feel that is? Because I feel like you are such a good role model for people who are looking to follow their dreams, follow their passions and their purpose. And I feel like you have a very good head on your shoulders with all of that. So I don't know, just tell me more about what you think your purpose is. You're living it out.
I think my purpose in life is, I say it all the time. And I think it's to help create a generation of givers and inspire people to find ways to involve themselves in their community. Because I think a lot of times, especially even in I guess I refer back to the pageant world because I actively work with mentoring these young ladies.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they come to me and they're like, well, I know I have to have a charity or a cause or a platform or something that I'm passionate about that I need to promote during my year, but I just don't know what that is. And so I think my purpose a lot of times is helping them find that passion of theirs and making them realize that it does not need to be $1 million fundraiser or this national level, community service event. You can do something so profound and so impactful in your own community with the resources that you have and people will notice. They will take
Mhm.
notice, even though you feel like it's a small project. It's
Yeah.
not. It's impacting people for the rest of their lives. And one example I can use is we did a prom dress drive years ago. I mean, it has to be 5 or 6 years ago now. And I had a customer come back into my store, 6 years later, having graduated college, has a full-time job. And she's like, that made such an impact on me that you took the time to make sure that I had a dress for prom. And I just felt so loved and appreciated and special and just worthy as a person. And like to hear stuff like that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it was a dress, but it's not. It's so much more than that. And having that impact on people, I think, is just my purpose. Like finding a way to tie our business in the community, finding a way to inspire this next generation to think about somebody else other than themselves. And such a small act of kindness can really, truly change someone's life without them even realizing it. So
So true. I
I
love
don't know.
that. I love your mission. And
Yeah.
can you just tell our listeners where they can follow Autumn's Closet and where they can find, your new things coming up?
Sure. So we have a couple different Instagrams because we have technically three different stores. So I would say Facebook or Instagram. Facebook is facebook.com/Autumn's Closet WI or /Little Munchkins WI or /Autumn's Pageant Closet. Those are our three links for Facebook. And then Instagram is just @Autumn's Closet WI, @Autumn's Pageant Closet, or @Little Munchkins WI. And we post a lot of what you see on there obviously does pertain to the business side. We post a lot of new inventory and
Yeah.
sales and that sort of thing, but we do try to also post any upcoming events we have going on or charity collections that we've dropped off so that people can see that what they're donating or supporting is going back into the community. So we try not to flood it all the time with the charity stuff because we are still a business, but it's a happy balance between the two.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was so
Of
much fun.
course. Yeah. And you can get the Perfect Your Purpose podcast anywhere you stream your podcasts.